So we cut in here off the edge of this dry river, kind of near where we sat last year. There's an old scrape right here, and then just a giant rub right here. A pretty big rub on this cedar tree right here. So they're moving through here. Seems like a north-south travel, probably crossing that river. It's a nice rub though, fresh too. That's like this year's rub, and you kind of see where it was rubbed from last year too. Just confusing because like they can bed anywhere in this stuff. Like underneath every one of these cedar trees in here, there's a bed. We're traveling here, probably north-south, I would think.
I don't think he's going to go through there.
He's coming. I mean, there's a scrape right here going out. How do we not see more? But I mean, if we're sitting in that tree, you can't see anything right here.
But there's a ground blind here somewhere.
Is there?
Yeah, just up to the north.
Well, they're moving through the rut here though.
Limpy's
At night.
Just over there. So, not too far from here.
So we're getting in here, walking around. You look right here behind me, another tree stand. So those guys are in here, and that kind of, it looks fairly new. There's a new strap up top, and for scouting, like I just said, we're just gonna keep pushing, because if this guy's here, those bucks ain't gonna be here. They ain't gonna be over there. They're gonna keep pushing that way and farther back that way. So it's a good find actually. Like, it sucks, but they're not here. We know it, and we know now that you said that they're pushing that way. So kind of that old escape route thing. If I see this tree stand here, I might push that way off the river where you see them cross.
Yeah.
Because you know they're skirting that way. I bet if we go that way, you'll find a lot of trails skirting the edge of this guy.
And this is helping us in another way, because we know we had tree stands farther to the south last year, and talking about the buck, talking about Limpy, or a mature buck that's living in his area, that we know they weren't to the south because we were hunting down there. We know they're not here because it's tree stands. It's narrowing this gap of where we think the mature bucks are bedding. So.
Yep, and you know if you're going to set up on that river to not set up here, because they're not going to come through here. I bet if you hang a trail cam on that rub, you're not going to get any pictures but nighttime pictures.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of sign probably back here, because like you said, they're skirting that side. It makes sense why we kept seeing all those bucks over there.
Yep.
They're
That's why
skirting
they're
the edge of
using
this.
that where that river kind of curves around. It's the only safe place to get in and out.
Yep, and they're not coming through here. So we're walking through here. We're just going to try to stay on this side, the east side of this dry river, and just kind of meander through here, push down this side first, and then kind of
Get out into that opening.
yeah, get out into that opening there when we come back down. So I'm cutting through here, just walking, and lo and behold, we look right here, and there's a shed, and there's no doubt that that's the other side to that guy's shed that Chance found. This is the buck that we call Limpy, just to help you guys kind of know which buck we're talking about. But that's the other side of his shed. If you look at the bases, look at all that gnarly stuff on the tines, that's his other side for sure. And Chance is pretty certain that if we walk this trail out that way to the grassy opening, that we'll find where he found that other shed. So
yeah, so I think
kind of interesting.
We're going to go that way for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we go this way and see where
what's
we
in
end
there,
up.
because he's going, seems like he's going this way, because obviously he's on an east-west trail.
Yeah. The other antler was laying like tines like this. He was headed that way.
That one.
You remember
yeah,
which way this one was?
looks like, and I mean, they can fall and bounce,
Yeah.
but it looks like he's headed back this way. Is he over there?
You stay here because I don't want to lose that.
I'm gonna go see how close we are to the river's right there. There's a scrape right here.
That's not the dry river.
It's not? What is it?
It's just more horsetail grass. It's thicker than crap over there.
Yeah.
He's
Is he
laying.
bedding in there?
Yeah.
We'll have to go comb that. It's a scrape though.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's probably just kind of scrolling around on this scrape.
And I knew, as heavy as it is,
Oh, I picked the bases.
once he lost one side, it wasn't going to be
oh
long
yeah,
before
the
he lost
bases
the
are
other.
totally.
I was going to get the feather antler out just to see what it looks like.
That guy's hunting right there, which is weird. He's in there though. He ain't seeing them, but he's close.
He can't. He doesn't know he's here though.
So he's coming.
He's sticking over.
East west.
Nothing against that guy.
No, it just dwarfs it.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. That goes a bit.
Nope. I can't
found
believe
that,
we
dude.
found it either.
That's awesome. So Chance just made a good point, and it's one thing that I'm still trying to learn about where bucks bed in flat ground. If you get hills, you can kind of pinpoint where they're going to be. You know, ridges and that top third and stuff like that. I mean, it's not exact, obviously, but it helps. When it's flat like this, like, it just seems like they could be anywhere, especially in this horsetail. So it's not like open woods where there ain't much cover. This horsetail grass goes through here everywhere, and there's just like beds everywhere. It's like walking in CRP grass, and you just find beds everywhere.
So
They can
loud.
be almost anywhere. So like Chance just said, we're not going to be able to like pinpoint his exact bed and be able to get close to it. We're just going to have to kind of observation stand, sit carefully, real careful, and try to move in. I think the best bet to start out with is to try to get in here, come all the way around him, and come in and sit here in this opening where we can see a little bit more, see if you can't see him traveling somewhere. Keep your wind blowing. Like, I don't even know what way your wind would blow. You'd have to, man, really think about it. It's hard to tell what way you want your wind to blow or where do you want to set up. So we're kind of still formulating a plan to hunt this area. It's just so difficult because of all that horsetail grass. They're just bedding. There's like 1,000 beds in that horsetail grass, and they can just bed anywhere. Not just that buck or bucks that we'd shoot, but there's just those to bum. It's so loud to walk through. Flat terrain, they can just bed anywhere in there. But we're standing right now at a scrape and a scrape. We're kind of in an opening here where we can see a little bit. Makes sense that that buck would come out and try to freshen these scrapes. We're also on transition of some of that horsetail grass, the more open hardwood type stuff, some taller grass. So we're thinking,
If you continue down this edge, it takes you right to where we've seen all the bucks crossing away from all the tree
Yep.
stands we found.
because there's another tree stand. There's actually another tree stand back there. So they're still going to try to skirt around that. He's far enough in that way, he's not on the transition. But we're thinking maybe during a, mid to late October, you might come in here, set up on one of these trees back here for a morning, and probably hunt most all day, I would think.
Just get cold.
And there's a trail running this transition. So what we think the buck is probably going to do, him or any other buck,
bunch of rows
yeah, a bunch of rubs in here,
coming out of
kind of a
obviously
staging
coming
area
out.
coming out of the bedding. What we think they're going to do is run this transition and run this trail, cutting all of these trails that come out of that bedding. Because I know early season we bumped does out of that bedding too, and there's does all around in that horsetail grass bedding too. So we're probably going to run all those trails, cutting these trails, scent checking for does that are headed out to that field that's probably 200 yards that way. And that's one of the only ways we can get in here. Set up right here in one of these trees, come in from that way, and just blow our wind straight back in the way we came in. Because, if we're walking in there, nothing's going to be there. So blow our wind straight back into that trail following the way we came in.
Yeah, and we found that other antler and the one I found a couple weeks ago are just right over here. So if he's bedding, we think he's bedding in a pocket of that horsetail grass marsh stuff over there. So we're going to kind of work our way in, I think is the plan right now.
Yeah. And one thing we can do is if we set up here, don't see much coming in here, we can also just come in that same way and then sneak down this trail, this transition, and get closer to him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And then, go another 75
Come
yards.
in, set up, sneak down this trail, more open, where you can be quieter in the morning, and sneak down this trail just a little bit. See if you can't find him moving through here.
Yeah, just gradually get closer.
Yep.
'Cause we know a pocket of where he's bedding, just not the specific.
Bed, because
We
there's
haven't
like
narrowed it down to a specific
1,000
area.
beds in there that he could be in. But like you said, the other shed we found is going to be today is over here, and then Chance found the other shed down this way. So he's like over there. I'd say that rub's been used a few years in a row. So we wanted to take a second here and just kind of explain everything we found so that we can teach it to you guys a little bit better. So
Start from the beginning.
yep, so we just found the sheds back in there, right where you found the shed the other day, 25 yards or so. And there's a stand. If right here is where those sheds are, there's a stand here, there's a stand here, and a stand over here. So we don't think there's much movement going on this side.
No.
He's not like moving that way to travel too much.
Too many people.
Yep. And we think his bedding area is just right there. I'd say, how wide would you say it is? Like a radius of about 100 yards, maybe even smaller than that.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes it difficult is it's all horsetail grass, which is that tall grass. It's this stuff right here, but it's just everywhere, and they can bed anywhere in that stuff. It's not like there's a point or ridges where you know this is probably where he's bedding and you can move in. You could have like 100 beds in that stuff. Not only is he there, but there's other deer. So that's the thing we're trying to figure out, is how we get in there and pinpoint where he's at. So maybe you can talk about our plan going forward, how you're gonna hunt him.
Yeah, so we know, like we talked about, the small area where we think he's bedded, but we don't want to rush in there because we don't know exactly where he's bedded. So what we're going to do, we found a few today, and we have a plan to get in and find a few more, like when we come in and just hunt. But we're going to set up tree stands on the perimeter of the bedding area, see what we see, and then move our tree stand locations from there based on what we see, because we're pretty sure we know where he spends most of his time.
Yep.
So now it's just a matter of moving in. We're not. It's like an observation sit, but it's an observation sit over a buck bedding
pretty
area.
aggressive observation sit, because we've been fairly non-aggressive in our hunting down here. So like when we say we're sitting on the edge, we're not just going to sit on the fringe and sit there the whole time.
Yeah.
We're going to start there, and every hunt move in closer based on what we see.
Yeah.
To try to pinpoint where he's at. It's going to be hard to get a shot off in that horsetail grass. One, just getting in there, and their travel in there. Like you could pick one trail and he could take the other. There's just so many different trails. So you're gonna have to find more of an opening or somewhere where he's gonna run a trail, like crossing doe trails, which is our plan too. But maybe get to that opening on the other side to see him. Just kind of pinpoint if we can't get in there and see where he's moving or where other deer are moving, because there's just so many places he can bed in there.
Yeah, we know where. We're just gonna try to pretty much do, like we're calling them observation sits, but these observation sits have a high probability of probably shooting him.
Yep.
If we're correct in our thinking.
Yep.
And we're just going to do observation sits on all sides pretty much of where we think he's bedding, and then go from there, because we don't know exactly within that bedding area where he's at.
Yep.
So.
And those other stands in there kind of suck, but they've also helped us because we know he's going to skirt the edge of those guys. Like they haven't killed him for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they're fresh tree stands. So he's getting away from them somehow, and they're kind of on this edge of it.
Yeah.
So we know he's probably moving that way.
The key may be to get on the
to
other
go
side.
to the other side, because we've sat over here and we sat over there of him.
We've sat farther
and we
to the
sat
south.
farther this way of him and never seen him. So he's probably moving that way.
Yep.
There's a field there. There's some gnarly CRP. That's probably where he's going.
Oh, we went and looked at that place where sell those bucks in the late season. Me and Dad walked it a week ago. Didn't find anything other than that big buck shed. And we didn't find anything else again today after we found Limpy shed, and then Brody found that shed really early on. But no other sheds other than that. So that will wrap it up today. We got a game plan going forward, like we told you, to hunt that big mature buck we've seen down here now 2 years in a row. So we got a plan going forward for that. Found a few more sheds. We found his other side. Now we have a match set for him, which is sweet. We already found a shed. So a good day. Warm temps here. So it's February 26th or somewhere around there. So the snow geese, we've heard them move through all day today. So tomorrow the game plan is to hunt a little bit of snow geese. So we'll see if we can't get a few of them. But a good day here today looking for sheds.